Dog trainers give some really bad advice when it comes to resource guarding. Hi, I'm Rich with Off Grid Dogs Training and Behavior, Tampa, Florida. And I'm crazy about you because you love your dog. So I recently saw a couple of pretty famous dog trainers on YouTube. They're both balance trainers. One's an e-collar trainer and one's not, but they both believe in corrections, as I do. And I'm not against e-collars, just I think they're way overused and used improperly most of the time. Yeah, I saw these two famous dog trainers talking about resource guarding, and there's different types. You know, there's resource guarding of the human. You know, the doggy thinks he owns mama or daddy because he does, which is not good. But the more common type is like food dish or a bone or a toy or, you know, some object that they, you know, if you try to take it away or you approach, they growl at you or, you know, the worst case scenario, bite you or somebody. So one of these trainers, the e-collar trainer, his solution, which was really bad, was to put an e-collar on the dog. Oh, and by the way, the client was told to never give the dog a toy from now on the rest of its life, or to feed the dog without the e-collar on, so that they could blast the hell out of it, because he was recommending very high levels, like over 70 on the remote collar. So yeah, his advice was to put the food dish down. This lady was having trouble with resource guarding his food. And then stand over the food dish, loom over it with your legs like right up against where the dog has to eat, while he eats his food with the e-collar, so you can zap him if he starts to growl or anything. And then when he finishes eating and he is done licking the bowl and everything, to kick the food dish across the room so you could go pick it up safely. This is really bad on so many levels. I do agree with one thing. You shouldn't reach down to take something away from the dog if you can't trust the dog and the dog doesn't respect you and you're actually afraid of your own dog, which is a very bad situation. I do agree that you shouldn't reach down with your hand and put your face right in the dog's proximity where he can bite you in the face or something. So that's the only thing I agree on with any of that. Although I do not agree with kicking the dish across the room. So the other trainer, who's even more famous, I mean, this is a really famous trainer. His solution was to startle the dog by, you know, let's say he's chewing on a bone or something that you want to get away from him. So clap your hands really loud to scare him. So he's startled off, sort of like maybe he drops the bone for a second or something. And then go charging up to the dog, which would supposedly, you know, intimidate him a little bit more away from the bone. And then, yeah, it's that kick the bone across the room thing again. So you can go pick it up. So, first of all, if you're afraid of your own dog, if you think that your own dog might bite you, you have a much more serious problem than resource guarding. You have a huge relationship problem. So you need to find someone who understands the dog-human relationship to help you fix that, instead of trying to suppress the problem by shocking hell out of the dog with an e-collar or with a loud clap. You're just perpetuating the problem and asking for trouble. And when that dog does end up biting you or someone else, just remember, he didn't turn on you. Dogs don't turn on their owners or on people or on anybody. That's a myth. He was never with you to begin with. That's why he bit you. was because you had a horrible relationship, probably loved the dog to death. He probably loves you, and that's the extent of the relationship. I call that a one-dimensional relationship. It's just affection, affection, affection with some excitement mixed in, and that's it. There's no structure, there's no discipline, there's no trust, there's no respect, and that's a dangerous, unless it's a little tiny dog, then you get only little holes. But if it's a big dog, that's a dangerous situation. And it's not fun because you're just not having a great time and a great relationship with your dog. I can't even imagine. Of course, my dog could kill me in about 10 seconds if he wanted to, being a 140-pound Great Pyrenees. So I can't afford to have that kind of a relationship with him. Thank God. In my house, my wife is the alpha. I'm probably number 2. I'm not sure. It's either me or the cat, and then the dog is last, because the dog can kill all 3 of us if he wants to. So he has to be the bottom of the hierarchy there. And I'm not going to go into how to establish that relationship on this video because I want to just stick to resource guarding. But I have other videos that go into that in much detail because that's the most important thing about owning a dog. And it's way more important than dog training, which is way overrated. So yes, my method for resource guarding is much different than these other 2 trainers' methods. My method would be to teach that client how to improve her relationship with the dog so they have at least a decent amount of trust and respect for each other. It is a two-way street. You have to respect the dog if you expect the dog to ever respect you. And once you learn how to have that relationship, you don't have to worry about the dog turning on you because dogs don't do that. Okay, these dogs that you read about in the newspaper that kill their owner or bite their owner or bite the children or some horrible thing, and they say, oh, the dog turned on him because they had the dog for years and he never did that. Yeah, they had the dog for years. He was tolerating a very bad relationship for years before he finally did something horrendous because of the horrible, situation that dog was living in. And I don't mean that they were necessarily abusing the dog or mean to the dog on purpose, because there's all different kinds of ways to, well, they were abusing the dog, but they didn't realize it because they weren't physically abusing him or they just weren't giving the dog what it needs. And this is why your relationship is not good with your dog, is if you're not meeting enough of his needs. You don't have to be perfect, okay, but you got to do better than most people do. Because when I walk my dog down the street, most people in any neighborhood I'm in, they don't have a great relationship with their dogs because they don't know how. They have no idea. In fact, they don't even realize that they're missing anything because they just think that's the way their dog is. But it's not. It's the way their dog is with them because they don't know how to live with a dog. So anyway, I'm getting off track again. Back to the resource guarding. My method would be to teach that client how to have a better relationship so she can trust her dog and respect her dog and he would respect her. And for sure, you should never have a dog that you live with or that you own that you don't have a drop it command or a leave it command that you can count on. I mean, that's got to be rock solid. And just as important, a rock solid go away command, or some people like to go to your place, a send away. That's not optional. Okay, if you don't have those 2 commands rock solid, then find a good trainer, which is hard to do because most of the trainers are going to BS you because they just want your money. And they'll just tell you, oh, I can fix the dog for you, but they can't, because they can fix the dog for them, but then they're going to give it back to you, and then you're lost again because it's all about you and your dog's relationship, not any obedience training. But, and most dog trainers won't tell you that because it's more difficult to train a human than a dog. But anyway, once that lady had that solid relationship with that dog, and by the way, you don't need to be messing with your dog when he's eating. Okay, that's ridiculous. Don't stand right by his food dish like that one trainer told him to do. Would you like somebody hovering over you while you're trying to eat? No. And they certainly don't like it. And it's natural for a dog to guard his resources. That's just a dog. That's what they're supposed to do. So don't, cause that to happen when it's not necessary. So have your dog under control, calm, and, sitting or staying or down or whatever you want to do. When you put his food down, don't leave his food out all day either, by the way. That's another video I've already made. Just, feed him for 10 minutes and then take it away. But when you put the food down, let him eat, leave him alone. Don't let any children or other dogs or anybody bother him. Advocate for your dog. That's how you build trust, is that he knows that you're looking out for him and he doesn't have to worry about anything because you're the leader, not him. And give him some peace so he can eat. When you're done letting him eat, and remember, all these resources are yours. None of them belong to the dog. Okay? If you think the dog owns anything, you need help. You're in big trouble. It doesn't matter if it's a toy or food or anything. It's all yours. None of it belongs to the dog. Everything comes through you. That's how you build a relationship, trust, respect, and the hierarchy that you need to have for the dog. And this is for the dog's benefit, not for your benefit. So he can relax and be happy instead of stressed out all the time like he is living with somebody who does not know how to lead. But so once he's done eating, then, or if he's got a bone or something that I want to take away from him, I'm not going to go charge up there and try to grab the bone out of the dog's mouth. That's rude, okay? And it's unnecessary because I have my dog's respect, and he knows these two commands I just described to you. So I'm going to say, Taboo, drop it. Just like that. That tone of voice. I'm not going to yell at him. I don't have to scream, drop it. You know what I mean? I don't have to do that. He knows what it means. And I'm going to say it softly, calmly, confidently, because I am confident. And I know he's going to do it. So I said, Taboo, drop it. And he's sitting over here, so he's wondering why I'm talking to him when he doesn't have anything to drop. And then I'm going to tell him, go away. That simple. Go away. So that he's dropped the bone, but it's right under his mouth. So I send him away. So it's no longer in his proximity. And then I can leisurely and in total safety, which I would be, by the way, I can take the bone right out of his mouth if I want to. That's not the point. This is more for people who maybe don't have the confidence to do that. And by the way, you don't need to do that. It's kind of rude. So you send him away. When you want him to be done with the bone, you just send him away and you take the bone. And it's that simple. You don't have to startle him. You don't have to shock him with an e-collar. And you shouldn't have to do any of that because that's just trying to make up for a very bad relationship. So I hope that was helpful.